Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy Easter from your crew here at DMV Sports Media, coming to you from the first ever men's UPSL game held inside here at the St. James Dome. What a fantastic night to get started. We hope you've all had a great time with family and food this morning, and now a chance to watch some loved ones on your soccer broadcast. I am Matthew Thomas. I will be your host. I am here with Sambas, our technical expert, doing all the hard work to make sure that everything looks good for you. And we couldn't be more excited to be with you this evening. So this is St. James' inaugural run into the UPSL. We've got some great information. Their head coach, H, fantastic to work with, told us that this, in large part, the first 6 weeks of the season is going to be their U17, 18, and 19 MLS Next teams that have all qualified to go to national championships later this summer. So they are using this first half of the season to get them some strong competition. Strong competition is what they asked for. Strong competition is what they got. They are playing perennial powerhouse Arlington SA this morning or this afternoon. Arlington is always a strong team. Arlington has reloaded. There's been some transfers in the window from a strong MSI team from Montgomery County that are coming down here. Peter Maddox is in his second season with Arlington after coming over and playing initially with Alexandria Soccer Association. So Coach Phil has another incredibly strong team. He will be strong 18-19. He will go to subs, and you won't see much of a difference. But this is a new venue for everybody to play in. If you've never been here, you need to come by the St. James facility at some point over here in Springfield, Virginia. It is a facility like none other around this country. We have a full-size indoor soccer field. They've also played high school football games on this field. Georgetown women's lacrosse has used this field for competitive matches. There are 2 ice hockey rinks, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, 4 basketball courts, 4 squash courts, 4 golf simulators that you can rent by the hour, and I will encourage you to do that. Kept us going this winter, a lot of fun. And then part of an indoor-outdoor water park. It is its own city that deserves its own zip code. So, folks, as we get ready for the walkout, I want to introduce the team in black. We have a really high-level referee team for you this morning. In the center will be Will Rodriguez. Brian Jong will be R2, which will be here on our near side since the teams will be on the far side. Brandon O'Neill will be trolling up and down that line. And in the middle, newly minted, newly made, newly badged national referee, which means he is on a pro track, and you will see him on USL and MLS matches before long, Josh J.P. Pitts. So a high crew that is with us. Doesn't mean you're going to like every call they make, but you can't ask for a better team. Do we have the All right, the anthem is done. The teams are out. We are just about ready for kickoff. Folks, we encourage you to follow DMV Sports. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It'll come up. DMV Sports has over 100 men's and women's games this spring and into the early part of summer from several different leagues. This UPSL and then the Super Soccer League, which used to be divided, the Virginia side, VSSL, and the Maryland side, the MSSL. And they have combined with the APL League based down out of more Woodbridge, Virginia area. So teams and leagues are combining. So many of these guys know each other and have played together, and so many of these guys have played against each other and with each other. So join us. There will be highlights posted each week. UPS season for the DMV. This is the DMV South. The DMV North got started last night with MSI, the favorite for that division, with a commanding 5-0 win over their arch rival, Montgomery County. It was the Montgomery County Derby, a game that was expected to be fairly close, and MSI was up 5-0 30 minutes in. It's what it ended. Both teams were able to get every one of their 6 subs into the game and onto the field. But if you're looking for powerhouses in the area, this Arlington team, Virginia Dream, and from the north, certainly keep an eye on MSI. Steel Pulse up there is always a threat in whatever league and division they're playing in. So, folks, on your screen, wearing the white jerseys with the blue shorts and the white socks, working right to left, that is Arlington Soccer Association. On your left side, in the royal blue, the navy shorts and the navy socks, that is the host, St. James, and this is their initial kickoff into men's competitive soccer program that is building and growing. Adam Baumgartner is their soccer director, spoke with us earlier, is excited that 2 of their high-level teams have made it into national competitions, and they're using this competition to get ready. We have a nice wide field. This field's close to 80 yards in width, which typically really favors this Arlington team as they love to attack down the flanks with great skill and great pace. It will be a great challenge for St. James to really defend them. St. James will be by far the younger team, should be a little bit quicker. This Arlington team is older, experienced men's senior level players, very physical. So it should be an interesting contrast to battles and see who can win out. Arlington looking to go up over the top quickly, trying to hit Yusef Berry up there. They are able to maintain possession. Oh, nice strong tackle. No call to be made. Excellent no call by our center ref. Long ball over the top. Peter Maddox going for it. It hits off his leg and goes out. We will do our best to get you names and numbers. We were given some of the rosters just moments before the broadcast started, so might be a little bit of a challenge, but we will work on that for you. You don't have St. James. You don't have St. James's, do you? Yeah. Ball being played back here. Arlington will use their keeper. We believe that is Maxime Davis back there in goal today. Trying to find Maddox again through. Here's the first attack of the game and a touch, and we have a goal. Less than 2 minutes in. Yusef Berry able to knock that one home with the outside of his right foot. An excellent finish. Again, this St. James is a younger team. It's a team that's just going to get better and better game by game. And then when we hit about the halfway mark of the season and they go down to their youth nationals, they will transition to a more true senior team. but these are some great lessons for them, and I think you're going to see these players and this coaching staff adjusting minute by minute. But this Arlington team is so advanced, so technical, and truly used to playing with one another. That was Alexander Roboleski, transfer from MSI, that hit the pass. That's Roboleski on the ball. Nice hard challenge. You can already see that the UPSL Men's League is a strong, competitive, very physical division. Style very similar to American NCAA Division I soccer. So we will have a free kick for Arlington, about 25 yards out from goal. It's kind of nice to actually be seeing a field and calling a game where we only see basically soccer lines. Most of our fields, high school fields for about 4 and 5 different sports. Called the game at MSI last night with 5 different colored circles on it. Roboleski is setting this up possibly for his right foot. There's a left foot option. Roboleski takes it and he scores. We have a goal, driven low and hard just outside the wall. Keeper was able to read it, get a hand on it, but not able to put it away. That's Saeed Redman in goal. Again, probably not used to that level of strike, a ball that he will see next time. Ball was driven just outside the wall, which kept it shielded from the goalkeeper's eyes for a long period of time. And just like that, 4 minutes in, just under the 4-minute mark, and Arlington has a 2-0 lead on this beautiful Easter evening. Ball goes out for a goal kick for the St. James. They're going to want to really start to establish their Saeed seemed to go into futsal mode there for a moment and rolling it out instead of playing. We have a touch and a loss in the back, and we have goal number 3. Kareem Garby able to slot one home after winning the ball off the initial goal kick. This Arlington team, along with their counterpart and heated rivals Virginia Dream, are known to just absolutely swarm teams. And it's not something that really changes over the 90 minutes. They will put subs in. The guys coming off the bench are guys that have started, and some have played major Division I college soccer, and yet on this team they're coming off the bench. So when they get their opportunity, they will come at full speed, full pace, full force, and Arlington will just keep going defensively the entire game. Cry for a handball there. Not given. As many of you know, those laws have really changed in the last 3 or 4 years. Most balls that hit a hand or an arm now are not considered a handball. Changes that U.S. Soccer admits they probably could have made 20 years ago. So fantastic changes for the game. We can give you a little more details on that, but just know that most of the time it hits, it is not going to be called handling. Has to be a hand to a ball or a situation where the hand is making the body much bigger. And the new guidance that if it hits off a player's foot and hits any part of his body, even if the hand was up high, that still is going to be allowed to play because they're saying he was in a normal playing motion. Nice little touch and spin. Miles Powell trying to get through. Made the initial move, tried to flick it up to Barry, was not able to connect with him. Sean Manacho taking the throw out here. Getting it back to captain Nick Barona. Barona, the big, solid center back force captain, quarterback of this defense, does a great job, has for several years now for this Arlington team. our FIFA referee expert here in the sideline, has helped us that is Law 12, if you want to look it up. All the new distinctions in the handball law. And I'll tell you, if you're watching a game with players under 12 years old, 95% of what hits an arm will not be called, but every parent in the stands will be asking for it. Game was just simply meant to not be able to catch and throw the ball, and it really got to a point that any touch, header over, the flag did go up, seemed to really be an excellent call. Looked like Barry had gotten just a step ahead. Maddox came from his left flank all the way over, headed that into Barry. Barry was just astride. Young St. James defender did an excellent job, pulled up right before the header, had Barry offside. Otherwise, Barry was going in one-on-one. Arlington once again wins the first ball off a free kick. Barry turns and spins, goes back across his body, hits a nice ball, and Saeed is up to the task. He was able to read that one, covered a lot of ground. Barry had really driven hard right and then rocketed that ball back lower left on the ground, causing Big Saeed to go all the way down to his side to make the save. Nice save for the young man. Arlington putting up their stereotypical wall here in front, like this, and then they will have 4 runners coming in behind. Ball goes up and over. Nice deflection up at the second ball. Arlington, well hit volley, just curving outside, but stayed below the level of the post. Had it been on goal, Kareem Garby would have had a chance for number 2 early into this game. We ended up getting a fairly nice day outside with the rain settling. But I assure you that Samba Sinai and Ernesto Martinez here is our referee expert with us tonight, are delighted to be inside. Maddox plays it down the line. One touch back in. Well read that time by St. James. Manacho was trying to find his target. Barry has it again. He'll take an extra touch, fakes it in, curls it in, goes off the back. That ball is in play and deflected up. Oh, and a fantastic save. Because that ball came off of the St. James defender, even though Arlington was in an offside position, it is not offside. So the referees did the right thing, an excellent job keeping the flag down. They were able to get that lofted up over top of Saeed, but defender right on the line, able to make the save. Got a little hairy there for St. James for a moment, but they were able to get it out. They're now looking to have some possession for the first time in their offensive half. They will have their first free kick of the day. Coach H instructing players to go and take a high line. We're going to see a ball driven. We've got 4 or 5 players making a run near the top of the penalty area. Well-driven backspin ball, which makes it easier to control. However, headed out initially by Arlington. They win the first ball, the second, and the third. Now into possession. Sliding it across, going back and forth per their style. Malachi McGovern there in the middle. Is able to get it out on the wing. Alexander Robleski currently lost it. Nice turn and spin by St. James, not able to keep it. And Captain Barona there able to just secure it, plays it back to the keeper. Summers, I think you have a fan down there right in front of you. Young man, thanks for coming and joining us tonight. Sambas, let your fans follow you everywhere you go. The man is well known in the area, folks. Okay, a little bit of possession here. Right as we say that, announcer's curse. Lost, being driven at pace. Robleski gets it back outside. Oh, and Barry tried to cut and only faked out himself. Nice high-pointed confrontation. It's a different level of contact that's going to be allowed here than St. James is going to be used to at the U18, U19 level. I think it's just absolutely brilliant of Coach H to put his team in, let them play against some of these higher opponents. These games are not about wins and losses for St. James. It's about these young men getting ready for national competition, and so many of them in the next year or two will be playing high-level college, and some will be able to even go straight and play in some pro leagues. So they're going to see some things even here in the UPSL that they've not seen just yet, and a little bit stronger, higher-level player. Saeed looking to send this. Goes a little long one. Captain Barona on it. Volleys it out. Nice touch. Robileski fighting for it. Lost it. St. James doing a nice job getting it in control. Will play their keeper back. Little bit of a scary ball. Saeed not quite getting the solid touch he wanted on that, but excellent backtracking. Saves it right before the line. Again, if you're looking at those lines, folks, it is not the white line. That is the end zone when they use this as a football field. It is the gray and black line about 10 yards behind that end zone marker. Down the line, Robileski able to keep it in. Both referees agree. Monacho was there. Ball coming across for Barry. He gets a touch on it, but not able to knock it in. Our initial call was a goal kick, but it looks like we are going to a corner. Did he signal goal kick? So our center ref called it off. This is his corner of the field. If that ball had gone on in the other quadrant in front of our AR, it would have been his final call. Great ball bending in. Fantastic corner. Robileski curved that in, made it a nightmare for keeper Saeed to get onto. We had a defender and a forward. Forward almost putting it in for Arlington, skimmed off the top of his head. But that in-swinging, spinning ball can really be a nightmare for keepers, especially if it begins to curve in shorter. So many keepers start about 3/4 of the way back towards their post on corners, something that's changing. They're now teaching keepers to start more midway so they can read everything. Saeed's goal kick, he gets under it a little bit. Initial header by St. James, up over the top. Maddox in his long strides able to get there first, easily collects it. Turns it inside, well defended. Had Robileski down, chooses to turn it back. Baharna goes all the way back. Maxime Davis back there to collect it easily. Nice ball up over the top. Shamanaccio here in space. Ball bending across, initially knocked out by St. James. Touch, left foot, bang, oh, and just wide. Kareem Garby just inches from putting that in for number 2 for him. So folks, looking at the scoreboard there on the screen, Arlington's up 3-0. All 3 were scored in the first 10 minutes of this match. First 2 were inside the 4-minute mark. Some nice possession here. Nice little bit of skill under pressure. St. James looking. We've got a man wide right. Goes into the middle. Headed out initially by Dylan Ogletree. St. James gets the second ball. Does a nice job. Referee saw the shirt grab, but allowed advantage to play on. Ball driven hard and low. Oh, Maxime comes through. Did a nice job to get it. The foul is called on the St. James forward. But if Davis doesn't come out with that full effort, then St. James is going to win that ball right there on about the 6, and it's probably going to be trouble. So his efforts cost him probably a couple bruises and an ice bath tonight. But without that, we might be looking at a 3-1, totally different perspective. All right, we have the first sub of the day. 98 is leaving. That was Seed. And into the match, 82. Emmanuel K. into the match for St. James. UPSL, you get 6 substitutions. My referee experts tell me they've advanced that to 7. But once you're out, you are out. So, again, very different than the youth leagues that the St. James team has been playing in. So, don't typically see subs. We're wondering if that's an injury. But, again, Coach H is really looking to get everybody in play. Ball floated up. Maxine is able to grab that uncontested, no issues. Looking for a nice long throw. Gets his team into the counterattack. Oh, nice little deft touch. Gets up to Roboleski. Eric Jennings did a great job on a one-touch. Ball played in. The flag is up. Offside is called. And that is Ola Wasu, we believe. That was just called offside there for St. James, trying to get in the attack. St. James getting a little more play now in the Arlington end. Putting a little pressure on keeper Davis in the back. They've survived the initial onslaught. They are down 3-0. But like we talked about, they're going to learn and adjust every 5-10 minute slot of this. But they're up against a strong Arlington squad. Powell, down the line. Ball goes out for an Arlington throw. Monacho will take it. Has 2 short option. Goes for Barjona in the back. Slides it up through. Arlington team getting a little bit more room through the central midfield than I think St. James would like to see. Another giveaway in the back for St. James. Was able to get a 2-hand shoulder pull down Arlington forward. Very adept at going down as soon as he feels those both hands on his shoulder. And a really dangerous spot here for Arlington. Just outside the box. And players will tell you they would much rather this ball be outside the 6-yard box to either side. This kick from right down the middle doesn't give you any way to bend. So there's some space in the far upper 90. We'll look to see if he chips the teammates. Oh, instead he goes strong power upper 90 on the shorthand near post side. What a fantastic ball. That ball was bending all the way. He struck it as if it was going far post. Froze the keeper, and that ball just broke in and hard with absolutely no opportunity for the keeper to make a play on it. So just like that, folks, we have a goal. We have 4 goals. Into just the 21st minute. That is Kareem Garby with goal number 2 already in this new UPSL season. the St. James is looking for their second shot on goal. They've only been able to get 1 so far. We have Arlington credited with 7 shots on goal. 4 have gone in. 2 great saves by our keeper. 1 great save by one of his defenders right off the line. Strong tackle. Referee says Arlington ball. They will play through Davis. this whole new style of sweeper keeper where the goalkeeper sometimes leads the team in touches. Arlington's very confident, very content playing through Davis. Very solid with his feet back there, as any higher level keeper now needs to be. Ball swings through, Wroblewski putting some pressure on. St. James defense, not phased, not panicking, slides it up, wins it in their midfield. Nice little nifty touch, oncoming runner. It does bounce away. Garby able to get it. Plays it to Ogletree, who's able to play it back. Davis confidently slots that ball 30 yards up the middle. Arlington will continue to play around the back. St. James busting through. Oh, a little bit of an unlucky touch. Could have sent his left forward, and it hit him right on the back. Nice spin. Going to see a lot of really solid individual skill by this young St. James team. They're going to look to really kind of put it together. This is the combination of several different teams, so these are not guys necessarily that always play together. It is part of their U17 team going to national championships, their U19 team, and some of their senior players. But as you're looking out, you can see a lot of young faces out there. Looks like a lot of faces that haven't seen a razor yet. Whereas most of this Arlington team are older guys out of college, established. Some have as many as 7 and 8 years experience in this UPSL. Some coming with wives and children. Deepest throw in so far for St. James. Just about 20 yards from goal. Initial ball is won by Arlington. They're able to get it. The second ball, Wroblewski signaling for Barry to make a run. It did draw the defender. Then he played right to Maddox. Maddox going with a double scissors, trying to break through. Nice little touch with the outside of his right foot. Not quite hard enough. Then shielded out by St. James. Maddox fought for it. A little bit of a tussle there on the end line. Ball going out for a St. James goal kick. So we will watch this. This is actually proven dangerous. Coach now is saying, okay, we're not going to mess with the short balls. Go long. Last one, so he got just a little bit underneath. He'd like to drive this one a little bit better through the middle of the ball. Gets it up just short of midfield, but a strong head out of the midfield coming for Arlington. Malachi McGovern winning that ball, getting some force on it. Goes all the way back to the keeper. Keeper with a nice release there. Kind of a side volley. Got it right to his teammate. Took an unlucky hop. Arlington back on it. This Arlington team, just the discipline with which they play and the pace with which they swarm. Ball takes one or two bad bounces, and it will almost always seemingly end up on an Arlington foot. Davis playing across, deflected out. St. James forward doing a nice job tracking back. Arlington goes with a quick throw, trying to find Maddox up over the top. They're going quick again. That was McGovern on the ball. Tried to find Maddox, lost it. St. James looking for their attack up over the top. Barahona heads it out. Not happy with the direction of that, but safe and driven out. Ball was called out. Wroblewski, who has been so strong in this league, several different teams, I believe was the leading scorer of the MSI team last year. Oh, fantastic ball. Barry gets through, gets the first touch, but was deemed to be offside. What a fantastic slotted ball through. Excuse me, that was Miles Powell making the run in was not Barry. Did a great job to get a touch. Keeper made the save, even though would not have counted. But as a goalkeeper, especially when you're already down 4-0, you want to make every save that you possibly can, even if they're not going to count. And as a young man facing, again, an older, experienced team, you're going to feel pretty good about that. Sliding it out here is Bahona to his left, but Bahona doesn't go wide. They want the width to be here in the midfield, which is exactly what they try to hit. Barry trying to find a touch out here to Manacho, who had space, was not able to get enough, and now St. James quickly getting into the counter. You could see them getting their legs under them a little bit, finding a little confidence. They're not afraid to really attack and go after this Arlington team. 1-on-5 situation. Wisely drops it back. Looking for an overlap run. Nice little outside touch. We have some more prom night hugging going on. Ref says a little bit too much of a pull. These younger players will learn, even with the physicality, so often, so important how you do it. Anytime two hands go on either side of the outside arms of your opponent, just about any referee is going to see that. Nice strong tackle there. Player goes down, gets up quickly. Arlington able to stay on the ball. Quickly down here to Manacho, uses his head to keep it in. St. James asking for a throw in. Referee and R1 say ball was absolutely still in. Nice little 1-2 back to Barry. He's going to try to cut this in the middle. St. James has seen that before, read that well. Barry's avenue there was on the outside. Tried to make a move. St. James defended. Roboleski trying to touch that through, hoping Garby was going to make a run in. Got a little crowded. Eric Jennings will take this throw in. Roboleski shielding. Foul called. Roboleski's got Jennings there on the outside, looking like he's going to want to serve this ball in. But Jennings is going to be pretty well unmarked all the way down to the end line should he choose to use them. He does not. Goes with a hard-driven curling ball. Oh, and he finds his man. And we have a goal. We have goal number 5. Malachi McGovern made a run from the left flank, was able to get in, find space. A beautiful ball by Roboleski. Curling, bending in right on the far post. McGovern able to head it down. To you young players at home, an offensive header on goal always goes down. Defensive header always goes up and out. Especially when you're dealing with a solid, strong goalkeeper that St. James has here in Saeed. You want to get that down at his feet before he has time to react. You put it anywhere waist high or above, and those long arms with great reactions will get a claw onto it with the gloves. Nice piece of finishing by McGovern. Just very seasoned. Maddox here fighting hard. St. James looking for some possession. Not really been able to stream 4 or 5 passes together more than once or twice. They continue to fight. You have a little bit of a counter going for St. James. Don't quite have numbers. It's about a 4-on-5 situation. Arlington tries to turn it out. Well played by St. James to just let that ball ride out. Throw goes back. Looks like they're going to want to play all the way back to Saeed. Do a nice job getting it back to him. Arlington does win that second ball, but a little too much force on it. Puts it all the way back to the keeper. Very smartly and calmly here Takes some time, moves everybody up. Goes punt, did put it right on his player's chest, but McGovern was able to come and intercept it. But the ball went back to Saeed. Arlington showing a high line now. Not confronting more than about 40 yards from goal. Nice piece of skill. Some one-on-one moves. Looking up over the top. They have a one-on-one situation. Just wasn't able to collect it. Ball kind of bouncing, spinning. Arlington wins it. St. James gets it back. You see the discipline of this Arlington team that likes to attack, but the screenshot just a moment ago, you saw 9 white shirts behind the ball. And now within a moment into the attack, you see 7 white shirts in the offensive half. That's what the higher level teams are going to do. That's what these men's teams do better than typically so many of the youth teams do. Getting numbers back, getting numbers forward. You understand quickly that numbers, that man up proposition is what you need. So if you only send 4 and they've got 5 or 6, but the stronger teams are sending 7, 8, 9. We saw it with MSI last night. At times they had 9 players in the opponent's box with 1 just trailing in the goalkeeper, and it just made for a nightmare for Montgomery County to defend. Nice little touch here. Best opportunity of the day. The flag did go up. The cross eventually did go behind the goal, but before the cross came off, he was rolled offside. Arlington will take the indirect free kick. Very comfortable, patient to play it back to Davis. Bahona slots it out here to Manacho. Manacho back across the middle to McGovern. McGovern looking long, nice backspin ball. Well taken. Slides it across, finds Barry wide open. Flag stays down, goal goes in. Folks, that you can see that right off of Coach Phillips' training pitch. Played it patiently out of the back, 3 or 4 touches, switched fields, got it in the middle, got it to McGovern and Roboleski, then played a nice backspin ball, which, again, to your younger players, is a ball that's going to be controlled easier. If it hits the body or hits the ground, it's going to settle much quicker than a ball that's just driven forward. And then timed well. Barry waited till his player had it. As soon as he had control, Barry made the run. He found him wide open, unmarked in the middle. And Barry, with 2 touches, very calmly able to slot it to his right, Saeed's left, for goal number 5. Ball 1 here, going all the way back to Arlington end. Goalkeeper Davis has done much more with his feet than with his hands today for Arlington. Always a good sign when your keeper is playing nice little 1-2 touches with his feet and a whole lot less saves with his hand. Your team's probably doing pretty well. St. James stays with the high line, trying to trap him on the outside. Gets it across, but 2 players there to meet Roboleski. Does not go out. Roboleski's able to save it. Nice little nifty touch around the defender. Patiently back to McGovern. McGovern with a nice shoulder fake and goes up. St. James wisely going back to the keeper. Oh, Saeed very confidently played that across his body. Peter Maddox was right there to Pac-Man that up and slip it into the net, but was not able to get it. Saeed with an excellent, calm touch there under pressure. Barry plays it through, finds Maddox. Maddox goes for the shot. We were looking to see if they were calling a deflection. No deflection. Maddox just leaned back, got under it a little bit, sent it up and over right under our American flag. Those of you that might be new to the St. James, you can see behind the goal 2 levels of windows. There are classrooms, and there's a kids area and some other things up top, and got some fans watching the game from up there. Lots of different vantage points here at the St. James. Barry taps it up over himself a little bit too much. He's asking for a foul. Not going to get that one at this level for sure. Saeed able to soak it up. And we are just about entering the 39th minute. If you're looking at your score sheet on the camera, it is not wrong. It is a 5-0 Arlington lead with about 6 minutes to go into our half, plus any stoppage time. We haven't had any injuries. We've not had any cards yet, and we've not had any long celebrations on goals. So especially in a 5-0 game, I'm guessing the referee will not add much or any time. Sometimes they feel obligated to add that 1 minute. We're trying to give you a camera shot. The ball is up inside the net and will be there for a while. Those nets do drop. There are things that go on here at St. James, and they block balls from coming up in the stands. St. James Field here is even marked on the far side to be a Little League baseball field. So the bleachers here would be a home run. Referee Martinez, you think they will probably either add no time at all or 1 minute? Senor Martinez tells us that likely they will add one kind of obligatory, but certainly no more than that. We saw the game last night with MSI. We had about a 7-minute fairly serious injury. MSI's goalkeeper Gonzo, who had played a fantastic match, made the save and took a body into him, similar to what Davis had done. Ball slotted through, flag stays down. I almost think that the Arlington player thought that he was off. He had a lot more time and space to go in and finish that. He won't see that much again this entire UPSL season. I think he'd like to have that one back. But finishing the story, Gonzo took a shot. They did roll out a concussion, but he did have to leave the game and go to the hospital to verify if the nose had been broken. That was Powell on the far side that got the ball in space, thinking he was probably offside, kind of slowed up. Certainly could have attacked goal a little bit more had he realized he was still on. Barjona calmly plays it back to Davis. Davis will slot it outside. Arlington player shifting, coming back. Robleski coming back to the ball. Jennings on the outside. They try to find him, not quite able to. Nice piece of defending here by Garby. Spins. Little backheel touch from Powell. Back to Garby, back to Powell. Tries to drive this one. Got a good bit of force on it, but well high and wide. Saeed looking to play this again up to midfield. McGovern wins it, a little frustrated with himself. Flicked it out. I think he expected Barry to be more on the sideline waiting for it. Nice little Maradona spin there by our young St. James forward. Powell with a little bit of skill, up and over, and then loses it and commits the foul. St. James sending 9 players in the offensive attack. Line of 5 and line of 3 up at the top of the box. Barhono wins the initial one. St. James wins the second. Third header goes to Arlington. Back to St. James. Ball kind of bouncing around a little bit. Both teams looking for possession. St. James able to settle it. Nice play there. Nice piece of skill. Driving, looking for some action on their right flank that Arlington's been using versus them so well. Ball did just go out over that gray line. St. James forward not completely in agreement there. Arlington, this is what this Arlington team is so good at. They will just kind of almost lull you to sleep. They are a strong possession team, but they are not the Barcelona possession type. They're more of a pass, 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 boom, boom type. They will knock a couple around, look like they're just going to be patient to play short, and then one pass will open something up, and here we go. Looking for a long 70-yard ball, trying to find Manacho here. Well played, defended out by St. James, but Robleski for Arlington keeps it. He does lose it. St. James not able to keep it. There with pressure around from 3 of the 4 angles. Arlington slotting it through. Robleski slides it back. Garby showing his individual skill. Garby with 2 goals on the night already. Garby's done a nice job. He's had a really good first half. He's been tracking back defensively. He's shown some good skill and then has the 2 finishes. Arlington trying to find Barry down that right flank again. Knocked out for an Arlington throw. We are into the 45th minute. Powell tried to slide that back. Not quite able to find his man making the move. And there we go, folks. That is the end of the first half. The end of the first half of play for the St. James men's team in their first foray into the UPSL. Arlington said, "Welcome to the league, young boys." And at halftime, we go into the locker rooms. Arlington 5, St. James looking to put their first UPSL goal on the board. Folks, this is Matthew Thomas and Thomas signing off for you. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Welcome back, folks. Matthew Thomas and Sambas here, joining you from beautiful the St. James in Springfield, Virginia, hosting their first ever men's UPSL match. Coming out of the half, working right to left in the royal blue, navy and navy uniforms will be the St. James. White with blue shorts and white socks, working left to right on your screen is Arlington Soccer Academy. Arlington with a commanding 6-0 lead to get this game started tonight. They were able to get up on the scoreboard in less than 2 minutes, and again in less than another 2 minutes had notched the second, and by the 10-minute mark we're up 4-0. Arlington going long, putting some pressure. Peter Maddox in there, gets a flick. Oh, and we have a nice touch. And that is new goalkeeper Zen Patton able to get hands on it. Showed really nice timing. That ball could have flicked up and over his head easily. And he was able to just deflect it up over the bar. We will try to get you subs for both sides as we go. Arlington looks to pretty much have left the starters on the field. They've got 6 or 7 that I'm sure we will see before the game's over. Patterson gets hands on it, is then deflected out by the St. James. Volleyed by Arlington. Arlington trying to win it back. Aaron pass. Colosso Cedeno was able to collect that for the St. James. Slides it down. Big 92 Lowage bass song is putting some pressure on. Arlington very comfortably playing that all the way back to their keeper Davis. Again, far more work with his feet than his hands tonight. Did make one good save under pressure. Took a shot in the ribs as his reward. The foul was called. No harm or damage done. We still have yet to see a booking in this game. Been a really well-played, well-handled match. Teams playing with class and character. Both teams playing hard. Not seeing any type of disruptions or any type of fluffles going back and forth. The teams pushing and shoving, so nice to see. So often these men's games go to that quickly. Our referee Martinez is agreeing. Has seen too many of these men's games. There's a famous DMV video that went viral from a couple years ago. One of these Arlington games. Fan coming out of the stands to try to fight a player. Soon regretted his decision. Arlington sliding it forward. Dylan Ogletree out here. Yusuf Berry coming all the way back. McGovern with a nice touch on the ball. Well defended initially. And Eric Jennings signaled for the offside. Patton to take this ball for the St. James. Again, after a couple of these short corners actually led to quick goals by Arlington, Coach H has decided to go long. Arlington has won most of those initial headers, wins the first one. Looked to be a little bit of a push in the back, but the ref says no, he won the ball. That is 92 Lowich. Big, strong attacker for the St. James squad. It's going to be a little bit to handle for some of these smaller Arlington defenders. Arlington calling for a handball, not getting it. Maddox dribbling through a little bit too much, still fighting back. Seen some speed here on the outside. Well played by Aaron Cochran. Cochran gets it across. Nice touch from Cobbs. Gets on the outside, back to Cobbs. Cobbs tried to get a little cheeky with a right and left-footed touch. Not quite connecting with his forward there. I think that ball went off the left a little straighter than he wanted. He was trying to bend that over to the sideline. But good sign for St. James, showing a little bit more life offensively in the first couple minutes than we saw most of the first half. Again, a young team, mixture of several teams. Going to take some while for some chemistry to be put together, but they will keep making adjustments. See some adjustments the coaches made. Nice little fake shoulder shove there. Arlington exploiting the flank that they are so well known for. Try to get out to Maddox. Robleski's shot would have been clearly in the goal. Patton was well out. Great piece of defending last minute there. Loich finds his man. Have a little bit of a push and pull there. Gibril Fall, wearing 25 for St. James, did an excellent job. The Shield is much bigger defender. Got the foul. Arlington putting some pressure. Powell here into it. Powell wins it. The ref says with a little bit of extra help from the hands and arms. Both players jostling for that ball. Was going to be a 4-on-2 advantage for Arlington. Fall back on it. Takes a shot. Looks like we have 3 subs coming in for Arlington. Barry and Robleski heading out. As will Powell. Matthew Carlin subbing in. Captain Barjona checking out. Players getting big high fives from their coaching staff and teammates. Excellent first half for this Arlington squad. We will try to get you names and numbers of folks entering the game here, folks, momentarily. Maddox getting a touch. Right away, Carlin getting into the play, trying to find Maddox. Nice piece of defending by Cochran. Slides it all the way back. Each time they've played back to the keeper, it's been an interesting affair. Patton does a nice job there getting it out just at the last second. Tough piece of defending there in the middle. Oh, you saw that, folks. I think that's a case of players not knowing each other real well. Looked to be that the outside run was the lane that was open. St. James, the forward, went inside, kind of clogged the situation. I think as these guys get to know each other and play with one another a little bit more, you will see that look a little sharper. This is Nicholas Honer, number 6, just into the game for Arlington, playing it across. Number 3, Mudiaga Jagha, and I'm sure I'm not saying that right. I apologize, folks. Into the defense for Arlington. He immediately works his way up, becomes part of that 3-man wall that Arlington puts near post, and then they will normally drive this ball just over their heads like that. Players running on, making it tough for the defenders and the keeper to see. Honer winning the ball there, playing it back. Gets a little bit of two-handed turn and shove from Cobbs. Nice piece of skill there by Garby, just trying to deflect it back one touch. Garby looking for Powell, not able to connect with him. Honer immediately involved in another little scrum there in the middle. St. James comes out with this one. We will have the foul called. Nope, that was the ref signaling for a substitution. So it will be a throw-in for St. James. Into the game, number 17, Giuseppe Melli. Been with this Arlington squad for a while. Throw quickly lost by St. James, back to Arlington. Arlington attacking down the flank. Strong piece of defense there by St. James. The St. James team has gotten considerably more physical as this match has gone on, which I think is going to be something that's going to serve them well as they go on to higher level in those the national tournament this summer. Part of why I believe Coach H really wanted to see them in this environment, wanted to see them kind of getting strong-armed by bigger, stronger opponents and take that to their level of play, which will really show well at the MLS Next Youth Cup. Attacking down the flanks as Arlington does again and again. Ball slotted across, finds their man, and we have a goal. We have goal number 7 for Arlington. Peter Maddox, who's been so dangerous and so busy up and down this flank all day, finds sub Matthew Carlin for one of his first touches. Nice little left-footed touch, first-timer into the near post. The way he opened his hips, had the Leaf keeper, Patton, on his line, leaning to his right, and then was able to just tuck it in near post. Nothing a keeper can do when a man's that wide open on the doorstep. Maddox, who's actually playing the left outside striker position, had come all the way over, made the run down the right flank, sent the ball into the middle. Creativity and movement by this Arlington team just makes them really tough to defend, especially by teams not nearly as used to them. Fantastic ball across. Andres is on it. Gets a touch over to Colossus Cedeno. Back to Andres. Taking on a man. Goes with a left-footed shot near post. Excellent piece. First real save. Second save Davis has had to make today. Nice piece of individual attacking by Cedeno. Took a couple short passes. Beat one man. Put a little bit of a Beckenbauer shoulder move one way, went the other. Was able to get his shot off. So we have one of the first corner kicks of the day for the St. James. A couple players making runs in near post. They try to find them. Headed out well by Arlington all the way out. One of our 83s for the St. James, Rodriguez Torres and Olawasi, are both wearing 83. And Maddox will get a big round of applause and big handshakes and hugs from his coaches after just a fantastic performance, running wild down both flanks, getting dangerous balls put in all afternoon. '18, Jordan McMillan, now into the game for Peter Maddox. He will operate the left flank, but will probably be moving around. Melli with a nice touch. Gets it back here. Volley by Ogletree. St. James defense on that. Sorensen again trying to beat a couple players. Not able to get through that time. McMillan won it. Played it back. Switching fields, Ogletree hesitates for a moment, beats his defender, slides through, continues into the fence. This Arlington team, sometimes hard to tell who defenders are and who attackers are as they're just moving and shifting and swapping. Really the way the game should be played and looks so pretty when it's done right. Garby has it. In no hurry. Finds a slot. Nice piece of defending back there. I believe that's Torres. On the ball again. Cheeky little back heel. Gets it up to Cochran. Cochran fighting with it. The ref calls the foul on McGovern. It'll be the St. James ball coming out. Cochran showing to be strong on the ball there. Fighting through, shielding under pressure. Ball played back to Patton. Little bit of a heavy first touch. Able to get it off. But Arlington then wins the next ball. Jogba just sitting on it in the back. Again, Arlington is a team that will keep attacking no matter the scoreline, no matter the minute, but they're not going to be nearly in as much of a rush right now with a 7-goal lead. Almost played with a little bit too much. They find Davis. Nice, confident touch back out. Honer tried to sort of jump and flick it, and he hit his own foot with the second touch and almost caused the problem, but it did get through. Great little ball played here by Garby. Nice piece of defending. Well done. Aaron Cochran showing really well here, especially in the second half for the St. James team. Big, strong defender. Not intimidated, not put off by this Arlington squad. Has used his body spacing really well. Cut down the angles, get in front of them, and just usher the ball out of bounds on several occasions now. Ball up over. First touch going to Arlington. Looked like Jogba, after he played it, ran into the attacker for St. James, who's asking for a foul. Don't think Loich is going to get the call he's asking for. Looked to be pretty harmless. They just kind of collided. Two big, strong guys, and looked like the knee might have come up into the stomach area. Not going to feel good. But both players certainly playing the ball in that situation. Eric Jennings wearing the captain's armbar after Barjona subbed out. Nice long ball. That's a 60-yard ball put right on his forward shoulder, left shoulder. Well played across. Finds Carlin. Score of the last goal. Carlin gets this one on the right foot, tries to bang it in. Well defended. Two-man tandem defending there for the St. James. But McGovern wins it back. Tanner Haliu was able to shield and collect it, but it did go out. We have another sub coming for the St. James. Again, both teams get 7, and once you're out, you're done. So one of our 83s is leaving the game. Ayub Camus, 72 into the game for the St. James. Ball comes across, up over that initial wall, curling in. Patton did a nice job to get a two-fisted punch out. St. James coming out with numbers. Excellent piece of skill here by Gerald Fall. Finds, I believe that's Onye. Back to fall. Oh, just not quite able to connect with Ayub. Ball going, looked like it was going to go out. Saved there by McMillan. Another 60-yard switch right onto the foot of Giuseppe Melli. Melli gets it off to Carlin. Down the flank to McGovern. And it's going to be a throw-in for Arlington. We have a long throw coming. This is a wide field. Fantastic throw going far post and just headed out. That ball was thrown over 40 yards. Fantastic, strong throw. Jordan McMillan there. Excellent job getting that ball into play. It's just headed up over the top. St. James does win this one. Maybe the first long goal kick they've gotten the first touch on, but not able to secure it. Deflects all the way back. Davis will play it out of his goal. Little one tree with Ogletree. Back to Davis. He's got players on both flanks. St. James is giving them the flank in the back. They're trying to clog the middle, not allow anything up through the middle, which Arlington likes to do, so that's well defended. Ogletree getting a little bit of an attack on. Played it up here to McMillan, tried to head it across, looking for Carlin, wasn't able to find him. Cedeno on the ball. Nice piece of defending, and Arlington will immediately go into the attack. Carlin on it, spinning. Lays it back. Arlington will try to look to switch here. Honer has it, sliding it over to Jennings. Back to Ogletree. Ogletree looking far post, long ball, finds his man right on his head. Gets the first touch across the middle. Trying to find Carlin. Nice piece of defending. Arlington getting it back. They're going to recycle. Back across. You see this Arlington team just continually switching the point of play. Looking for that ball again over the top. Not quite able to find his man like he did on the previous one. But Arlington winning it. Oh, nice piece of back defending. Big Joich able to get on top of it. Loich, excuse me. But he loses it. Garby has it. Plays it over. Draws it back. Looking far post. And it was deflected out by St. James for an Arlington throw. We have another Arlington sub coming. So Sean Manacho will go get congratulations from coaches and teammates. Ball played in, immediately handled by Patton. Daniel Haptum into the game for Arlington. Offside called there. Arlington going to knock it patiently around the back, looking for some space. Again, they're not at all afraid to keep going and will continue to go, but going to be very content to just pass it around, try to exploit some holes. Look to possibly be a push and a pull. The ref says no. Ball slotted through, and we have a goal for the St. James. I believe that was Olawasi with the goal. Again, there are 283s for this squad. Did a nice job. St. James showing some more physical play. Arlington thought the foul was going to be called. It was not. St. James attacked immediately down the middle, found one of their 83s open in the middle, was able to slot it past Davis. And St. James has just scored their first goal ever in the UPSL. An exciting moment, even with a scoreline not quite in their favor. Garby playing it down the line, tries to go collect it, goes down. Excellent piece of defending. Nice little touch. St. James busting through. Ayub got it. Trying to find the crafty Andres Sorensen on the outside. Not quite able to collect it. And immediately Arlington's back. They've got numbers in a 4v3 situation. There's a St. James defender that's down, but play goes on. Ball initially deflected. Out by Cochran. Tanner Hallu, great little spin move in the corner. Finds his man, but he's trapped. Arlington wins it. It's going to look to play this across. Gets a left foot. Initially deflected. Almost bounced right into the path of Carlin. And we almost had a souvenir for the fans. And that ball landing just before the bleachers here. Jennings with the throw. Finding Carlin. Pressure coming. Getting a little heated in that corner. That's Jordan Boos that had gone down. You saw kneeling down in the box. Is able to get up, is fighting hard. Was able to win that ball out. Little shout, I think, of exclamation to say that you can't do that on me. Ref is watching the activity going on in the box. A lot of pulling and pushing. Coming across. Carlin gets a head on it, sends it up over the top. And this looks like this will be the last sub for Arlington, their 7th of the game. Malachi McGovern heading out. Does have a goal on his campaign tonight. Had a really good night. Was all over the ball. And our sub, which I believe is Christian Kershaw, got into the game, won the first ball. Yep, that is number 12, Kershaw, that is into the game. Guys getting a little frustrated here. Some shoving going back and forth. Referee Will trying to just keep guys calm. He'll go get his spot on the other side of the field now. Kershaw sliding into that center defensive position. Davis patient out of the back. Kershaw with it. Slides it over to Ogletree. Back to Davis. We'll switch fields. Finds Jagha looking down. McMillan trying to get onto it. Does. Rolls it back. Nice little hesitation move by Melly, but well defended there. Dribble false. That I've seen that move before. You're not going anywhere. read it well. Ball did go out for an Arlington throw. Jaha will knock it over here. Ogletree looking for that diagonal ball again, which he's hit 3 or 4 times so well. Long 60-yard ball. Nice little slotted across and in. While the sub Kershaw had come all the way from his center defensive position, was there 2 yards out from goal and almost able to get that and slot that home. And then he retreats defensively. Looks like he is playing in kind of a revolving 6 where he's the center defender, but then will slide back into a center back. And then there made the run all the way forward. Ogletree able to head that back. Again, for those of you watching at home, you can hit it back to your goalie as long as it is above the waist and it is not with a foot or a knee. Kershaw slides it out, finds Jocka on the outside, not in any hurry to go forward. Finds Garby. Back over to Ogletree, back to Kershaw. Back to Jaha. Just had 6 passes by Arlington. Not necessarily penetrating and doing any damage, but keeping possession. A little bit of a feisty play. The ref says play on. Again, the St. James team is playing so much stronger and more physical. They've adapted well in the second half to the level of play. Had a push from behind. Kerry Callahan called for that one. Excuse me, 6, not 16, Nicholas Honer. Sometimes I think players argue a call when they're just surprised that the ref saw it. Looked to be a pretty obvious push, but it was kind of cheeky from behind. So I think he thought he had gotten away with it. And then they feel like they need to argue it. Ball going out. A little contested. Did go out for a goal kick. St. James was looking for a corner. St. James will be making a sub now. They've emptied most of their bench. Cedeno coming out. Arlington playing it out of the back. 3 St. James defenders sort of ended in the same spot. Didn't really play it well. Not sure what each other was going to do. 7. Isaiah Sims into the game for St. James, wearing a 97 tonight. Again, most of these St. James guys have defensive tackle numbers on them. A lot of receivers and defensive tackles and defensive line. Ball comes across. Jogha able to get up higher than everybody else. Just deflecting it out. We'll go for a goal kick. Looks like St. James will opt for a long goal kick again. Again, early in the game, didn't quite have the communication or the speed of play. Arlington was able to snuff out short goal kicks, win them, and score goals off them pretty quickly. So Coach H has adapted. But again, the long ball won by Arlington. Kershaw, one of the shortest guys in the field, was able to get up and win that from his defensive midfielder position. Kershaw looking to get it back from Ogletree. That does get covered. He goes back to Davis. Slides it over to Jaga. We've seen this going back and forth, that V in the back continually for Arlington. Kershaw looks outside. Ogletree opts not for his long diagonal ball we've seen 3 or 4 times. Plays a short diagonal up to Jennings, comes onto it. Goes back to the left back, Jaga. Jaga tries to send the long diagonal ball, just gets away a little bit from Melly. Out for a St. James throw. Where are we at time-wise? 80. We are in the 81st minute here, folks. So about 10 to go, plus any stoppage time. Oh, Patton with a giveaway. Garby able to slot that home calmly and confidently for goal number 3 for Garby. We have a goal. We have goal 8 on the night. Important lessons for these young St. James players. Again, they're seeing a level of organization and a level of pace that they're probably not quite used to, especially playing the goalkeeper's feet. Have to really make a good first touch, get it out quicker. But it's just going to be fantastic knowledge and experience for them going forward. You really love the fight that you've seen from this young St. James squad. Sub Sams on the ball, shields off a defender, is making his run, slots it in. Oh, just a touch behind Joich. Arlington won it. St. James fighting back for it. Little bit of a late tackle. So we have our first booking of the night. Being told that that is one of our 83s. Again, we're not sure which one still in the game. So again, we are 81 minutes into this game, and we just had our first booking of the night. And that was a very calm one that didn't really bring any wrath or any issues. Definitely a good call from our center official. St. James trying to slot it up over top. Andres making a great run, well defended by Jagha, who's had a good game since coming in. Now you're starting to see a little bit of frustration, some shots after from behind the ball by the St. James team. But again, they were not matching Arlington's physicality in the first half. And I'm sure coach is noticing that this half, and I would venture to say that was probably a big part of the conversation at halftime, is that we've got to play more physical, not just with this team, but in this league. Another one goes back to Patton. Takes possibly an extra touch than he needed to, but did a good job getting it out. Got it right to his man, Cochran. Deflects off Arlington and back. Cochran goes with a quick throw. Oh, nice little touch around 2 men. Sims down the left flank. Has 83 in the middle, and they just can't connect. And Davis, the seasoned vet, knows how to get rid of that. Does go to St. James. Back to Arlington. Ball's bouncing around a little bit. Melly plays it up, finds Carlin. Carlin will opt to bring it back. Kershaw gets it. Back here to Garby. Jennings in no hurry. Kershaw going up over the top. Has his man. Keeper comes out. Well played. Patton read that really well. Really well defended. The St. James defender was with the oncoming Arlington attacker the whole way. But nice little backspin ball played by Kershaw could have really been trouble. Another nice piece of defending coming back. Tanner Holloway able to track back and win that for St. James. He's done an excellent job since he's come in. Been kind of a force to get this out. Patton's not messing with that one. Goes immediately with the long ball. We have a little bit of hugging and holding going on. St. James quickly takes it. Jennings was a little frustrated from the previous foul and tackle that he came in behind and just ever so slightly was able to tap the back of the heel of the ongoing St. James. Referee did an excellent job to see that. It doesn't need to be much, but when it's done strategically, and what the referees at this level know well is that most of the things that happened on purpose. Ball floated in, bouncing around. St. James trying to get on it. Puts Arlington right into the counter. Nice piece of skill by Melly. Flicked it up over his head. And we will probably have our second booking of the night. What used to be referred to as a tactical foul, basically when somebody was fouled on purpose to keep them from getting advantage. That terminology has been taken out of the law book. So it is now what is referred to as stopping a promising attack. So in the referee world, we call that a SPA. But absolutely, Arlington was attacking. I would venture to say that St. James's coach, H, is pretty happy with that foul. It was going to put Arlington in a really advantageous position. So sometimes your foul is your best course of action. Up and over the top. Oh, on the backside. It went over the head of Carlin. And then scooting in all the way from his left back defensive position, Jaka had made about a 50-yard run and got a foot on it, just deflected it wide. Would have been an obstructed view as it went over his own player. But when you're a defender, you get that one opportunity. You want to make the most of it. He hasn't seen too much of the offensive side of the field tonight, let alone in the box with the ball coming to his foot. I'm sure the forwards will give him a hard time and say that's why you're a defender. Lowich does a good job winning this. Starting to see a few more fouls coming both ways. Nicholas Honer with a nice little shove from behind. Something we see again and again with these men's games. They seem to be going calm and cool. And a referee one time say, Matt, it was a great 20-yard game, meaning he could stay 20 yards from the ball and jog up and down. And then one intense foul. And he said the last 10 minutes was an intense 5-yard game, that he could never get more than 5-6 yards from any confrontation because just about everyone resulted in a confrontational fight opportunity. Ball played in swinger, bending, curling, just off of the head. Big 92 Lowich skips on out harmlessly for a goal kick for Arlington. We're into the 89th minute. About 90 seconds of play plus whatever referee will add, which I would venture to say won't be much. Ball played up over the top. Arlington is called for offside. The flag went up. That's McMillan that went down. Looked to be more of a collision of ankles. Didn't seem to be anything malicious or a whole lot in it. Well defended by the St. James, but he was initially off. Patton coming all the way up to take this ball more than 40 yards from his own goal. Everybody in St. James pushing up. They would love to get another one in the net and on the board. Oh, Jocic going for a big side volley bicycle kick. Will get a yellow card for his actions and his efforts. Was a heck of a play by the big guy. Unfortunately, for 21, Daniel Haptom, he was coming through to head that out. One that we're glad did not result in more than it did. Haptom seems to be going out. Arlington, nope, he's going to stay in. And there you have it. That is our final whistle. So, folks, thank you for joining us on this beautiful Easter night. We hope you have a great time the rest of the night with family. First ever UPSL men's game here at the St. James, with the St. James as the host. Tonight's score 8-1 in favor of Arlington. But a great night and a great game, and you saw some fantastic action. So this is Matthew Thomas and Sambas signing off. Thank you for joining us. Please like DMV Sports. And come back and see us soon. Folks, have a great night.